Marginal zone lymphoma is a fairly rare subtype of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It makes up around 10% of all non-Hodgkin's lymphomas. It's made up of three subtypes, that's splenic, extranodal, and nodal marginal zone lymphoma. In the frontline setting, there's lots of treatment options, and oftentimes responses are quite high. However, most patients, regardless of their frontline therapy, most patients will eventually relapse. At this AACR, I'm presenting the results of a phase 2 trial with a specific inhibitor of PI3 kinase delta. This drug is called Umbralisib. It's an oral inhibitor of this specific isoform of PI3 kinase delta. And in this trial, we enrolled patients with relapsed marginal zone lymphoma. All patients had to have at least one prior regimen, including an anti-CD20 directed therapy. The trial enrolled 72 patients, and we completed enrollment. I will be presenting the results of the first 42 patients who have at least 9 months of follow-up. In the phase 2B trial, we enrolled 72 patients. 42 patients will be presented at this meeting, and we found in those 42 patients with 9 months follow-up a 52% overall response rate, and this overall response rate was confirmed by an independent review committee. In the patients who received drug, we saw the duration of response not yet reached, and the progression-free survival also not reached at 12 months. We predict that the progression-free survival, based upon these first group of patients which have been analyzed, to be around 66% at 1 year. We also saw adverse event profiles which were consistent with what we would expect from this class of drugs. And this would include some transient transaminitis in the first couple cycles, as well as diarrhea. Now, diarrhea is the thing that we probably watch closest with this class of drugs. And with this agent, it appears to be fairly mild and self-limited. So around 50% of patients experience some episode of diarrhea. This usually lasted less than 2 weeks, around 10 days, and was grade 1 or grade 2 in the vast majority of patients. In fact, only 2 patients had a grade 3 event. Over the next couple of years, we hope that this trial will lead to FDA approval of this drug for patients with relapsed marginal zone lymphoma. Now, ideally in the future, to really improve patients' long-term outcomes, we need to see the combination trials with this drug and several other drugs like it. Ideally, we'd also like to see this class of drugs move into the frontline setting, potentially in combination with chemotherapy or other targeted agents.